Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the Shadow and Sun Show, and welcome to your Friday morning edition of Second Breakfast. It's Friday. The weekend's just about here. I got some cool stuff on the way. A couple of cool things supposed to arrive today, if time permits. I'll show them off. One, you're going to have to wait till tomorrow night, where George and Dave from Emperor's Choice are going to join us and tell us all about their adventures at CNY Con and how that went from their perspective. Bloodworth was here yesterday and earlier this week telling us about his fabulous time he had. But I want to hear from George and Dave and how all things Arduin are ironing out. And from what I understand, there are some new developments, some new products. What's up, Daryl? Took a cold shower, drinking iced coffee, got hot mowing the lawn in balmy 65 degrees. Oh, it's already like twice that here. We're at like 180 degrees, something like that here in the high desert. It's pretty toasty out there. No, it's about 85 maybe, but it is going to get into the 90s and hundreds soon. And strangely enough, Jackie and I have a couple of lawns to mow in the next couple of days as well, but we try to do it really, really early, or just I prefer to do it just as the sun's going down, because waking up and jumping out of bed and hopping on the lawnmower is not my idea of a good wake up call. So, yeah, Jackie, he tends to just wait until like straight up noon o'clock. Yeah, it's 120. Let's do this. Mind you, our lawns aren't very big. They're average size, and either one of them takes about a half hour or less, depending on the effort you want to put in. In the backyard's just pretty much straight, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And if even if you take your time, hey, no, this is my laptop. How you guys doing over at the Red Room? I'm looking forward to the new Wretched Country ish book and some other stuff. I am still working on the module and the other stuff we talked about. Just a couple of issues going on, and uh, getting back into the swing of writing is I'm just writer's block, whatever you want to call it. Having some issues. I need to just push through that, just like I need to push through some other things, a little more exercise and watching my diet and not snacking after the sun goes down. But the wife wanted popcorn last night. She was watching the soccer game, watching Mexico win one nothing. I'm like, you watched the game for what, 3 hours, and the score was 1-0. I'm like, oh man, that's just, oh, that sounds like work. No, I'm writing for the Red Room. I've got a module that's like 99% done. I just got to finish that, and then I'm working on some characters for something I hope Miguel will jump on and use for one of his other games. And then, of course, I'm writing for Emperor's Choice, and I've got two projects I'm working on with them. That won't, even if it was done right now, it wouldn't see print for another year. So, and of course, I have a couple ideas of my own, but first things first. And there's so many games out there. I tried my hand at writing a full fledged game in one of my universes, and to this day, I still have two boxes of manuscript and things like that, thousands of pages and hand drawn art and all this crap. And I'm like, yeah, this would never sell today. There's just without completely brand new art and a bunch of other people to be helping me out with it, it would never fly. It's too too big a project, too big a universe, literally a universe, not like a single, fantasy or sci-fi world. It's a whole galactic thing, and most people don't give two shits about that. And with my, recent studies, I'm less and less into any kind of interstellar travel. I think it's just more, hand wavy, magicy crap that's never going to happen. My head hurts trying to simplify the math on my own space game, right? It's it's daunting when you understand it's not just the speed and distance to get there. It's all the other things that nobody ever talks about, the effects of long term life in space, the cultural changes that would occur in like a colony ship or a generation ship. If you were to be able to build one and then send it off, whatever got to the end of the line would no longer be human. They'd be something completely different, or at least the next couple of generational steps. uh, Thanks, Miguel. I appreciate that. We'll talk after the show. I've got some stuff and some questions because I'm kind of at a point where I'm like, what should I do? And I can't talk to the people that were in the playtest um, because I don't want them to know certain things. I want them to buy the book, for Christ's sake. They were in it, at least they know. I was going to actually send them copies of it just to, show of thanks. But there's some things that I could use your advice with. Try a sandwich roll over difficult over difficulty skill modifiers are built in. Okay, we've got Mr. Bloodworth back again to regale
Hey,
us.
how's it going?
It's always great. I'm retired, man. What the
I'm
worst thing is going to
I'm
happen is like I get a flat tire or something.
I'm home today, so no disruptions in driving.
Cool, cool, cool. Like I said, George and Dave are going to be on the show Saturday night, talking about the con and um, some new stuff that's coming up, and
Yeah,
talking about
I
writing.
invited them to come on my channel sometime, sometime in the upcoming weeks, probably by August. Um, tomorrow I'm running my OSC game, so we'll be able to catch it tomorrow.
I'll be there. I'll be there to help out. They the nicest guys in the business, but don't piss them off. I'm kidding. And they put out some of the best. I mean, they go above and beyond. What's up, Julia? Hope you're doing well. Uh, they go to the greatest of lengths to make sure that every ingredient in any product they put out is the absolute top of
Yeah,
what's
I mean,
available.
did I let me grab the swords and show you where are they? They're right behind me. I mean, I
Welcome,
mean,
welcome.
look at how incredible
Oh
that
wow!
looks for $10.
I know,
I
right?
mean, it's a metal sword. It's not plastic. It's
No,
metal. All right,
yeah, I didn't even. That's the first time I've seen the packaging.
and
I've just
there's
seen
the Atlantean one.
those. I mean, I don't even think they make action figures big enough to wield those. But I'm gonna have
No.
to break out my
I-
Stretch
and then the
Armstrong.
small one was the one that came with
That's funny,
the
Julia.
one that they gave away with the free deck, the
Uh-huh.
free deck of cards. So this was the character pack set one
Hmm.
for the card game of Arduin.
Yeah, that's actually the thumbnail for the video for Saturday because we were looking for an image, and I'm like, let's
Okay.
just use that. You notice the
And,
Conan
oh,
characters
oh,
on the
here's the
cover.
smaller version, the keychain sized one. And I mean, this thing is crazy. I'll open up this one.
Did you notice the Conan characters?
Say again?
Did you notice the Conan characters
Yeah, I saw them, but
on
I'm
the
not a
box?
minis guy. You know what I'm
No, no,
saying?
no, 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 on the box.
On this,
Yeah, that's
No,
Conan.
there's
No, of the cards.
the cards. Yes.
That's Conan, and I forget who else. Valeria, maybe. They changed a little bit so they didn't get sued, obviously.
Yeah.
But in the bigger image, and there is an image where it was actually Conan, like more Conan, all four of the characters from the
Yeah.
movie. But they had to change that because they didn't want to get sued.
Yeah. Let me use this. I'm going to use my sword to open up the box so I don't damage the box.
Nice
That's what I
job.
did the last time too. You know, I used a sword. I was just like I was nervous about bending the sword, but it's actually pretty strong. It's not like lead. You know what I'm saying?
No,
Like the old lead figures.
doing
Um,
well, Julia.
but
Doing
yeah, I
well.
can show you the larger image of the characters. And with this pack, I think this card pack was $10 as well, or maybe even less. Let's see.
It kind of is. It's my middle name.
Yeah, so let me see. So this is card one. Yeah, so it comes with the pocket rules, and there
Yeah.
are 6 cards. Let me double check. Nope, there's more. Wait, there's more.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, so there are 7 cards with the pocket rules. So you have all of the rules of either Arduin or the card game. I'm pretty sure the card game.
Yeah, they're slightly different to simplify
Yeah.
play.
So you have the seven cards, and what I would probably do is I would probably put these out on my copy machine, and then just print them all out onto a larger page, so I
Yeah.
can just hand that out to players.
Yep.
Um,
That would work.
but here are the character cards. So there's this
Fraint.
insect-like creature. This
Oh,
is
it's called a fraint.
Actic. It's a Frank. Yes. So that's that one. Then we have a Deodnath. Yes.
Deodanth.
So
And the Deodanth is actually from Dying Earth. He's
yeah, that's a
inspired by the character
Draglin.
in the movie.
His name is Draglin. Then we have this wizard-looking dude. So that's a human. Just
Mhm.
your bog standard human. Then we have another Deodanath. This is a thief.
Mhm.
And then we have a number of different magic items.
Yeah, each of those magic items corresponds with one of the characters. They're all wielding one or the other.
Yeah. Um, this is a pretty brutal looking axe.
Hmm.
So, yeah, standard scimitar. Here is the great sword. Then we have map options. Let's see. There were other cards though. Oh, and then just and these were the special cards that came just with the New York, Central New York con,
Yep.
and then these make one saving throw automatically or negate a critical hit.
Hmm.
So pretty cool stuff. I mean, they were really, really cool. They were very, very generous, uh, you know, with their time as well. I mean, they did a great job, not just promoting their own booth and their game and everything, but just promoting the convention itself.
Yeah.
Great guys. So
Speaking of which, I was talking to George last night on the phone, and you need to reach out to them.
yeah, I what you call it? I sent him a text or something, but listen, when we're offline, you can always share my phone number with them.
Okay, I'll do that. That's actually
Yeah, yeah, they can
uh,
always give me a
the,
call.
the best way.
Or my personal my email. that they
Screw
can
that.
reach out to me
Screw
as
that.
well.
They don't need that. Use the
Yeah,
phone.
but yeah, you can give them my
We're
phone
old.
number.
I mean, you and me are old school. We probably spent more time on the phone than we have yet to still spend
Yeah,
on.
well, like I said, like the other day when I was at work, Roger actually gave me a call because he saw something come up, one of my posts or whatever, and he was like, "Really? That was something that happened?" I was like, "Yeah, we spoke for about like an hour, and then I was talking to Roger about some ideas I already have for next year, So it's like, that was like 2 days after the con, and I'm already thinking about, hey, what's some things that you can do that will just make it, all the greater,
Mhm.
so yeah, that convention, I'm already, I got my wheels spinning. I already just submitted my 2 game sessions that I'm going to be running on Hyperborea third edition at ShireCon. I'll be doing a video for that a little bit later anyway. Um, and I already created the graphic for it, and I'm going to be running the red nails, which Jeff Talanian was like, "That sounds awesome," and I was like, I'm going to be running it in front of you," which I almost hope he doesn't sign up, because that would be nerve wracking to have the creator of the game actually sitting at your table.
I would look at the exact opposite. I
I,
would
I
do,
know I would be, it would be amazing,
and
so
you'll
we'll,
kick
we'll
yourself for the
see.
rest of your life if you don't.
Yeah, but yeah, I played
Exactly,
I
Daryl.
played a
Exactly.
number of times at his table, so I'm following with my Conan theme, and so it's going to be Red Nails as the first session, and then I'm going to start creating, writing up, Pool of the Black Ones, which another awesome
Black
story.
Colossus is my favorite, all-time favorite
Yeah.
Conan story. Black Colossus. Speaking of which, it turns out I actually have a spare copy of the Coming of Conan, the Gnome Edition press.
Oh
So
yeah.
I'll be giving that away real soon. But Sumerian September is right around the corner,
Yeah, I
and
know.
last year it was my biggest, month, and so I've got to do a bunch of Conan stuff.
Yeah.
I've actually I've got some stuff that I know nobody else here, nobody I know knows about some of this Conan stuff. Just a couple of little tidbits that I'm going to share with you guys, um, because it's so freaking popular. Even after almost 100 years. I mean, it's strange to look at it like that because it doesn't seem that old. When I was younger, reading the like the Del Rey books or whatever, the white books, the white paperbacks. I just assumed they came out a few years ago, but no.
Yeah. No,
L.
I
Sprague Champ.
started. I'll show you exactly what I started. I have it right here next to me. So I started with these ones. So I started with the tour.
Oh, okay,
That was
okay.
my introduction to Conan.
And
Was
even
I
those
mean,
like
I forget if I might have had the comics first. When did this
uh
come out? When was this one published?
you you
Yeah,
you
this
know
one was published in '67. So I had this before I
I was
started
I was
D and
born in
D.
'67.
Because I never knew which one came first. Was it D&D first and then? But I think Conan came just before D&D, for
Well,
me.
okay. I was like, well,
So,
we know it was written decades before, but
oh, of course,
um,
yes, yeah. So these were,
I'm pretty uh, adamant about what is and isn't canon. Doesn't mean I don't appreciate the other stuff that everybody else did, but it's like it's not canon. It's a different.
yeah,
There's like three different Conans for me. There's the Gnome Press, there's everything in literature, and then there's Marvel Comics slash the movie.
yeah. Well, the
And
Gnome Press, to be honest with you, the best ones you can get are the Del Rey books, the large ones, the larger books. For the original stories, where did I pack those? I moved them in back into my other space. But the ones that were put up by Del Rey in the
the white
early
covers.
2000s, the ones you can still get on
Okay, okay.
the ones you can still get
Do I
on
have
Amazon.
do I have it here? I just recently picked up the complete chronicles of Conan.
The black hardcover.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll be
Because
right back. I'm going to show you the best, the definitive best, without argument, um, the best books to get if you want to read Robert E. Howard's original writing
it's
without
Gnome Press.
alteration.
Gnome
All right.
Press.
Huh?
The Gnome
No,
Press.
no, not Gnome Press. No. They
Really?
were cleaned up in the 50s. Gnome Press
Oh,
came out and they cleaned those up.
really? Okay, I know there was a
Yes.
little bit of that, but I
Yeah,
didn't know
no,
there was
the
anything prior
best
to that.
ones you can get are the ones that you can still buy from Amazon. It's The Coming of Conan, the Bloody Crown of Conan, and the Bloody Sword of Conan. Let me grab them. I'll be right back.
Because that the Coming of Conan is the first in the Gnome. Then I can't read that one. Conan the Barbarian, the Swords of Conan, King Conan, Conan the Conqueror, and Tales of Conan. I got this one because it was pretty much like everything in one set of covers. What's Daryl say? I know many people prefer Robert E. Howard. I've always appreciated pastiche writers too. As much as I love Conan, I'm probably a bigger Grey Mouser and Fafford fan just because I'm more into the magic and the thievery. I saw those. Uh,
These. These are the ones you want. Without question. These are the ones you want. And you can still get them. You can still get them on Amazon for about $16, $17. And these were put out in 2003.
Okay, yeah, I passed those up because I was looking for something, in one set of covers so that I could go like for my sons, like here, when you go off to,
Well, get them all three. Get them all three. And then you have them
well,
all.
yeah, but I mean, if he's going into boot camp or
These are also in these are in the order in which Robert E. Howard wrote the stories. Because the Conan stories were never written in a chronological order.
no, they weren't.
So these are written in that order. These are specifically written as they were originally published,
Mm-hmm.
and then it was decades later when the Gnome Press came out that they started cleaning up some of the language in it, some of the just the imagery that it would create and everything. They made changes to it. And then these.
Where are those pulled from? Are they pulled from the pulp magazines or because there's nothing as far as I could
Or from
track?
the original transcripts of the magazines, like
Okay,
his original transcripts.
yeah, because there's nothing else uh, like technically older in print other than the magazines, and then Gnome Press,
Right.
as far as I can
So
tell.
they actually let me see if they mention it in the forward here. So
What's up, Squirrel?
let's see. They're so wordy with the anyway. Um, yeah, the forward is written by Patrice Lunet. I don't know how to pronounce his last name, Lunet, but he's a French like historian of Robert E. Howard, and he writes his books both in English and French. But these are the ones you want. Absolutely, these are the ones you want. All right. So, without question, those are the ones that you want.
Miguel, I highlight you you read Conan as you want, or as you can get your hands on. The Conan Marvel Comics, especially Savage Sword of Conan Omnibus, is one
Mm,
of the greatest investments. Just because um, you're the with the art from the magazines,
mhm.
your eyes get a break from reading, but you get to take in these. It's just absolutely some of the best art in fantasy. Period. As far as I'm concerned, some of them are crap. I'm not going to lie. There's a couple artists back in the day that I did not like. I forget the name. There's one artist that did Conan. That I'm just like, this is crap. This is just too. I just just crap.
I
But
was never, I mean, I have them all and they're the most valuable, but I was never a big Barry Windsor Smith fan of Conan. I thought Conan
really,
looked too thin. Um,
really,
I never liked the helmet. I was like, the Viking style helmet that he wore,
mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
with the exaggerated sized
yeah.
horns and everything on it. I was never,
What did you think of his art elsewhere?
what's that?
What did you think of his art elsewhere? He's one of my favorite artists.
Yeah,
Barry-
I've only really, I mean, he might have been in other places, but I've never liked his Conan. I never thought that was
uh,
not, I
there's another
liked
artist that's slipping my mind right now from
I
back in
liked
the day.
I liked Ernie Chan and
Chan was
John
great.
Buscema.
John
Theirs,
Buscema was probably my second or third favorite, and even going
yeah. I
past
mean
second
that
sword.
combination
Ernie
of
Chan
the
was good.
two were just phenomenal. I
Hmm.
mean, um, for just the
But
comic
there's another
artist
guy
that
who's
I'm
got a
talking
name
about.
similar to Barry. He's got a similar like sounding name, but I can't remember what the hell his name is. He was my other favorite because I have I think it's Smith's Frankenstein Alive. Oh my god,
Mm.
the art he it was just absolutely
Yeah,
phenomenal.
it's
I'll
just
find out.
obviously preferences and everything,
Mhm,
but
mhm.
you know,
Agreed. The like especially like the first couple of issues with the Viking helmet and the that sort of look with the like the fur vest. I'm like, yes, no, it's not Conan. It's just not. Um, Jusko was good, uh,
yes.
but he didn't make top five. I don't think. Sorry. I'd have to
Um,
go look. Like I said, I have the Savage Sword Omnibus number one, the King Conan number one, and the Conan the comic books number one. And by far, my favorite was Savage Sword of Conan, and it's probably the only one that I will continue the line. You
Norm is good too. Norm Brom did more recently, but
know,
of the old school, it's definitely um, like for me, I like the Ernie Chan and John Buscema combination. Those are some of my favorite. I mean, some of the new ones. I mean, Conan
oh,
has always had great artists.
I mean,
You
you
know,
can't help but
there's
be able
very
to.
very few where I could say, oh, that's not great.
There's one. There's one. I'll find out exactly who it is, and and you'll be like, yeah, that one was ass. But I've always been a huge fan of black and white uh, comics and graphic novels and things like that over color, whether it's Vampirella, creepy, eerie, uh, Conan, Cull. I think I have Cull number one as well,
Yeah,
uh, which I was actually I kind of like the Cull story more. I know that's sacrilege, but the whole Serpent Man and the ongoing thing
mm,
with that and the intrigue and a little bit more magic was more my thing. The Conan got a little repetitive for me after a while. It's there were some like how many times did he fight a giant ape? Like more than any other creature. It was like apes. Did you notice that?
I can only think of Thack and which really Thack was called an ape man, but then there were the flying apes when he was in southern Stygia. That might have been like Queen of the Black Coast, or that series around that same
Mhm.
time. Um, I can only think of twice. I mean, in the comics, maybe more so. I'm
Mhm.
thinking his original, the original stories. I can only think of twice in the original stories.
Really, I could have swore it was like far more.
No, in the comics, there might have been more.
No, I meant in the original books.
I
It
can
seemed, it
only
seemed
think
to
of
be that
I
it
can
was
only
like,
think of twice. I can only think of
and there.
two times. Um, Oh, I have the pool of the black one right here in this book here. So I literally just posted up that I'm going to run that adventure, and I have to start converting it. Using I'm actually going to do the same thing I did in the last convention. I'm going to bring the Savage
Okay.
Sword that has the pool of the black one in it, and have that on a table, and use that for the images and everything, so that
Yeah.
they can actually get a sense of the imagery. I have the map that I had from the Age of Conan. So that's the map that I used when I put it out on the
Yeah.
table and everything, so they get a reference of where everything's
I used
happening.
to have a map. I don't know where I got it. I was working at this comic shop where I got my start as a DM, and I just man, I think I swiped it, to be honest. I think I
Yeah.
swiped it off the wall and nobody noticed, and it ended up in my room forever.
Oh,
Like,
there was a puzzle I put in.
oh really?
They had a raffle at the convention, and so there was the Age of Hyborian map as a puzzle, 1,500 piece puzzle piece. So I bought 20 tickets, and 20 went into that box. I was like, that's what I want. And I'll have to look that up. I have to see where I can find, because I didn't win it. I was like so pissed off. I was like, God damn, I put 20 goddamn tickets in that thing. How popular
I
could
would
that have been?
I would have immediately just gone straight to eBay to look for it and
Oh,
figured out.
it's can't be. Let me go to Amazon. It's got to be an Amazon.
Oh really? So a newer thing?
Yeah, it's just a. Um, Let me look it up on Amazon. So Hyborian map, Hyborian map puzzle. Nope, it's not doing that yet.
Did you ever pick up the what was it? Fantasy Games Unlimited's Royal Armies of the Hyborian Age game?
Um, no.
It's a miniature war game, but it's like one of, if not the original, like Conan games that you could actually buy. It was, it was a war game, like almost like a Napoleonics game. I mean, where hundreds of men are fighting. But as far as I could find, it's like the oldest. There's nothing else that I could track down that was an official Conan game. And one of these days, I would not mind playing that out. A friend of mine actually has the molds for the old Raw Partha miniatures,
Hmm.
so you could field giant freaking armies of Stygians against whatever, because it's always got to be Stygians, right? Uh,
Right.
they made such great bad guys.
No, why is it doing this? All right. Let me just. I'm having trouble finding it. I'm not finding it on Amazon.
I would try eBay. You'd
Yeah.
be amazed at the things I've found on eBay, because it's like the people often don't even know what they have. More often than not, they don't know what they have, and they'll just put it up there and then not do the research. as in search up the item they're trying to sell, and then see what a competitive price would be, and how much it's kind of worth, and
Let's see. Still not finding it.
um, what
Not
I would
even
do
on
is
eBay.
I would save the search. You know how to do that, right?
Yeah.
Save the search and just wait for it to come in. It will someday. Someone will put one up for sale.
Let me
And
just try getting rid of. Not there. Let me keep on looking. Does he not call it the Hyborian age map?
it might have a different name. I can't imagine what else you would call
Hyborian
it.
age puzzle piece, Conan.com. All right, so it's from here. Oh, I could buy it for 29 bucks. All right, so it's put out by Heroic Fantasies, so it's new.
Well, there you go.
It's new. Yeah, you can get this from Heroic Fantasies, and yeah, 1,500 piece puzzle for 29 bucks. I could
Wow,
have bought
really,
it for. Yeah, I definitely want this.
really. Nobody. You would think that. I mean, with Arnold and everything, you would just think that that he was more popular or more well known in Germany, but maybe not. That's. I mean, I grew up with Conan before Lord of the Rings, before Dungeons and Dragons,
Yeah.
before all that. In 1977, so many great things came out in my comic book store. We had Star Wars, of course. We had John Carter. We had Heavy Metal Magazine. We had, I think, Conan. I don't know if Conan came out there. I know there was Conan stuff going back as far as like 72, but you walked in to my favorite comic book store, the Land of Ooze and Oz. Literally, that's what it was called. And it was like an art gallery. I kid you not, because the
Hmm.
walls weren't covered with anything but actual real art from the comics. The
Right.
Bristol boards. The owner had gone out of his way over the years to pick up his favorite or whatever art he could buy. Literal pages done in pencil, up in these glorious frames. The place was spotless. You're afraid to touch anything, especially as a 10-year-old kid, because you didn't want to break anything or get fingerprints. And John, the owner, was so cool to me and helpful, and like, are you sure this isn't above your reading level? Things like that. Being really nice about it. Because I was buying John Carter and
Hmm.
you know, more than superheroes. There was so much to pick up. Monarch Star Slayer was one I was into. Grim Jack and all the indie and even Marvel stuff that was not superheroes. Adam Strange and just even in the superheroes, one of my favorites was always Aquaman, because he lived in that freaking alien Atlantean city under the ocean. I mean, that to me was just like fantastic. That was way more interesting, and you never learned a damn thing about it, than New York or Metropolis, or what I mean. It's like, I'm never going there. And I mean, I could, but I can't go to Atlantis. That sounds like fun. In addition, it sounds scary as hell. Everyone, everyone here knows the Conan movies, but not the RPG. Before I got into some Conan stuff of Shadow, I had never heard of the whole Conan lore and RPG in 30 years. Well, it's a great start. Um, you know, I don't think we would have a lot of the role playing that we have if it wasn't for Robert E. Howard's work. A lot of people want to, attribute so much of it to Lord of the Rings, which is fair. I think if Gygax had his way, it would have been more sword and sandals, sword and
Mhm.
sorcery than Middle Earth. But at the same time, I can kind of see how that might have been perceived as a little too sexist or something for the time, whereas Tolkien was, uh, accessible by everybody. There was none of that going on, and I mean, Conan was in the original deities, demigods, and heroes.
Yes.
Aragorn wasn't
Hmm.
because he chose what he wanted in it, and he didn't say, "Yeah, let's put in Frodo and Gandalf." He said,
Well,
"Freaking
he
Conan."
knew that would have gotten him. He was in trouble enough just calling them hobbits. You know what I'm
I know,
saying? He knew
right.
that they would definitely get it.
Yeah, but I mean,
If they
you
used.
could still, there still was never any
See, Conan
chance.
was already public domain by then.
Was it?
Yeah, by
I thought so.
'79.
Well, was that when the deities, demigods, and heroes came out? The white box, the white box version,
Oh no, that was '74. All right,
right?
so 74, 75, let's say.
That's only like
Um,
50 years after. I thought public
yeah, but
domain.
it depends on. There are certain things. There's 50 years, and then there's 75 years.
Okay.
Um, there, it might have already been in that form. There might have already been public domain
Well, then why wasn't uh, Cthulhu and Lovecraft?
because they might have maintained the license beyond. Like, when did Lovecraft die?
I want to say like in the 40s.
Let me see.
But also with Robert E. Howard, I thought there was more people alive from
No,
his.
no, no. Lovecraft was an issue because Chaosium had the license.
Okay,
Yeah, it wasn't. It wasn't the Lovecraftian
I had a
Lovecraft
feeling that it had to do
estate.
with them because they actually went in because uh, love yeah.
Yeah, Lovecraft's.
I think
It
you were trying to
wasn't. It
78.
wasn't his estate that sued them. It was Chaosium that did.
Who survived Lovecraft's? Who I mean,
I guess his wife. I'm looking it up now.
yeah, because I thought that Lovecraft had like very little family left. You know what I
Well, he
mean?
was married.
For a brief time, but when they divorced, I don't think that gave her any rights to
So
his work.
Lovecraft died in '37.
Okay, that's
So not
close.
much later. That not much after um,
Howard.
Howard. So let's say he was married to Sonia Green
Hmm.
from 24 to 37. So I guess when he died at 46.
Hmm.
Let me see.
They were married 13 years.
I got yeah, that's what it says. That's what
Really?
Wikipedia says here. He
I
died
always thought it was like
up until he died. Yes.
I thought they divorced after just a few years of being married.
No.
Interesting.
No, they have them married until he died.
I thought they got divorced.
No.
That was always like a big thing that I remember. Um, that they couldn't stay together because of his xenophobia or whatever you want to call
No, she's the one that cured his xenophobia.
it. Well, clearly because she was a Jew and he wasn't, and was afraid of everybody that wasn't, like him, kind of thing. That's I wonder. I have to go back and look because some of the books I have, you know, said other things, and maybe uh, they were wrong. Um, so if
Now
they
I'm
were in
looking at it
fact,
now. I'm trying to figure out. Um, let's see.
because like a fact like that would even stick in my head if I had never read it somewhere.
So he died of terminal cancer.
Hmm.
Yeah, so he died of cancer, and that's all. I'm looking to see if they say anything about his other things. Copyright and other legalities. That's what I was looking for. Despite several claims to the contrary, there is currently no evidence that any company or individual owns the copyright to any of Lovecraft's works. It is generally accepted it has passed into public domain.
Hmm.
So I don't think anybody held the rights to his stuff. So when he died, it it just became public domain. It
Yeah,
was not like
I always thought that Derleth had purchased up a bunch of it, or
Derleth purchased all the rights to the stories that were published in Weird Tales. However, since April 1926, at least Lovecraft reserved all second printing rights to stories published in Weird Tales. Therefore, Weird Tales only owned the rights to at most 6 of Lovecraft's stories.
oh, okay.
So he only owned 6 of those. And when he died in 71, the copyrights and royalties of works were published under both their names, Arkham House,
Hmm.
um, where they tried to say that Arkham House renewed the rights, and so, but currently, I don't think currently anybody owns the rights to it. Yeah, the Library of Congress failed to find any evidence that these copyrights were renewed after the 28-year period, making it likely, has claimed that they own the right, dismissing that he owned the rights. They have been based in Providence since 2009. It's public domain. The
Okay.
Library of Congress basically said there's no evidence that they were ever put under any other license. So they're public domain. Which is why, which is why a lot of people use Cthulhu, because the other things that they wanted to do, who was it? Evil Hat Games wanted to do a Terminator game,
Okay.
and because they would have had to pay a fortune for the rights to that, they did Cthulhu instead, because they didn't have to do that. That was like that other board game guy, which is a piece of shit.
Well, I've got nothing nice to say about Evil Hat, so.
Yeah, yeah, the board game guy, Eric Lang. So Eric Lang will crap all over H.P. Lovecraft. All right, crap all over him. Blah 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 blah. What is he most well known for? Putting out a board game based on the Cthulhu mythos. All right, because he didn't have to pay for it. And it was like, so you're gonna crap all over this guy. Oh, he was a racist, he was a xenophobe, he was blah 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 blah. he died 100 years ago, and you're still blah 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 about it, and
Right.
but you're going to use his work, his name to sell your crap ass board game.
And back then, 100 years ago, everybody was at least a racist.
Yeah,
It
it
may
was
not have been.
just a different time frame. Yeah, it was
Yeah,
just a you know, and again, I couldn't care
actually,
less.
Julia,
I couldn't care
um,
less. My
actually,
favorite author, my favorite author, you know, I couldn't care less. I don't care what what he has a cat named in his book. Oh, that's H.P. Lovecraft. I don't care what his family cat name was.
that was actually, yeah, his
Yeah,
pet cat.
I couldn't care less. I couldn't
I
care
mean,
that he uses in some of his stories, not in these ones actually.
if you're
The
going
story
to, I
Black
mean,
Canaan
yeah,
is
if one of the last stories with the black cannibals. I mean, that story was like,
yeah,
in your face, like.
yeah. So
And
yeah,
if
I
you're gonna pick, nitpick at Howard's character, I mean, you don't have to go any further than his last moments on this planet.
yeah,
That was like that was some severe um,
yeah.
depression
Don't
issues.
tell me you have issues of people using racial terms, and then you will blast NWA on your radio. You know what I'm saying? It's
I
like
don't listen. I don't listen to
it's like
rap.
no, it just doesn't wash. It really
I'm such
doesn't
a
wash.
racist. I can't stand rap. I'm
Yeah,
kidding.
yeah. So
Real
it's
quick,
like
Julia, this is actually a bumper sticker from my friend Brian, who has a weird World War II YouTube channel where he plays weird World War II games with werewolves and
Mhm.
things like that in World War II. Uh, uh, that's that's just his thing. And he sent me some bumper stickers, and I told him I would put one up to help promote his channel because he's a good friend and a good guy, and um, so that's why that is. I wish I could get a hold of Weird Tales magazines, the originals. I'll just have to get the omnibuses, which I'm sure are out there somewhere. I have some of the Weird Science omnibuses, but they're not easy to find, and I find it a lot of. Uh, what's up, James? Uh, uh,
Oh, James, DM James is on.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
James, I'm getting into Hyperborea. I'm running it a lot. I'm going to be running it quite a bit.
I didn't watch your video. I mean, I watched part of it, but I disagree with the title. Humans are it's just they can't they can't by sheer virtue of us being humans be the hardest things to run. It's just it doesn't make any sense.
Oh, you're talking to James.
Yeah, 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 yeah. He made a video yesterday how role playing as humans is harder than role playing as dwarves, gnomes, hobbits, Frank, deodants, elves, whatever. It's just
I, I find them all equally easy, you know,
uh, well, I mean, yeah, because we've done it for 50
equally
years.
easy, challenging,
Uh,
whatever. I don't think that it really matters. It's like when I go to a convention, and they'll have their pre-gens and they hand me the pack. I was like, one on top. I don't care what it is. Hand me the one on top. You
yeah,
know, that's
I,
always what I do. Whatever I first touch, that's the one I grab. So
I've played so many characters over the years that I want to play things I haven't been allowed to play.
mhm.
Which you've let me play some stuff. OGGM let me play an Elven Ninja. That's been a
Oh,
freaking blast. I mean, just because there's been so much prejudice and fear and hatred of things
I'm
throughout
gonna have to
my
run
experience.
real quick. Someone just got here. I have
No
to run
worries.
real quick.
No worries. I
You
will
have a
see
good one.
you.
I'll pop in later if you're still around.
I'll be here for a while.
Take it easy, everyone.
Take care, Bloodworth. What's up, Steve Kennedy? How you doing? Uh, yeah, over the years, uh, it's funny because uh, people have had severe prejudices that 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 only prove my point that they're afraid of the non-human races as player characters because they are, by virtue of their longevity, they should be more powerful. Then you throw in the other things, and then you throw in the arbitrary, for the sake of fairness, limitations, which were taken out in every other game after that. There's no limitations, even to the point of having dwarven mages, which I think is not that's never going to happen in my world. I would let a robot be a magic user before I would let a dwarf be a magic user, if that makes any sense. Dwarves are not supposed to be magic users. It just goes against what I perceive them to be and how they should be, in at least in my games. Whereas uh, humans were given the unlimited ability to rise, which makes no sense in how elves in many games can't be rangers. They were the first rangers. They were the first like species. They should be the best at everything given enough time. Versus, oh no, humans are better at all these other things. That's just fear and prejudice rising its ugly head because most people can't imagine that there's anything better than us. Um, and while they're to date we haven't met anything like that, there are things that are supposed to be better than us. Right off the bat, you've got angels. Okay, if you don't believe in that, that's fine. But like if you just look at it as mythology, they were better. They were perfect. They were literally perfect. So there's something better. They're not us, and we're we have our own uniqueness, which in and of itself, being unique is awesome. The idea of freedom and the ability to choose one's own destiny to a point is awesome. But all the other things should have that as well, obviously, except angels because they're kind of like set in stone what they're supposed to do. I wrote a comment that I agreed with DM James' premise that there's a failure to research forgotten history of more the demi-humans being powerful and more evolved humans. But I've only read that as an excuse as to why humans are better. I've never read I've never read in any of the mythology where the other things couldn't be adaptable or weren't adaptable. Hell, they were outsmarting and tricking and deceiving humanity since the beginning of most of the mythological appearances of those creatures. Yeah, of course, humans get the upper hand because, well, humans are real and the other things weren't, and they were just stories to be more of, what do you call it, cautionary tales. Don't go in the woods because the brownies might get you, or the gnomes might get you, or the dwarves might get you, versus them ever being real. We've never found any archaeological evidence of tiny, tiny little furniture, that belonged to pixies and fairies. So you got that. No, just uh, I think that if you're going to have other things out there, and to make humans just the best at everything, period, because of your fear and your prejudice and your inability to imagine something being better than humans at anything, that's just piss poor role playing and imagination. So the gods aren't better than humans, dragons aren't better than humans. All of those things are more powerful, and what your opinion of what is better, you know, means is completely a matter of opinion. If you go by, game theory or stats or whatever, one on one, a human can't possibly beat an ancient dragon. A naked freaking human versus an unarmed, no magic itemy thing dragon. The dragon's going to win. Same thing as a tiger or a lion. Humans can't beat those things. Um, in the real world. In fantasy and imagination, sure, Tarzan can pull out his trusty knife and and kill the biggest, the baddest lion in the jungle. But that's horseshit. We all know that. You know, uh, even when Ted Nugent goes into the woods to hunt a grizzly bear, he's doing it from a position of strength, stealth, and distance with his bow. He's not going, okay, I got my K bar, let's go. You know what I mean? So it's kind of immature to just go, yeah, humans, that's all there is. We're the best at everything. I don't want to be in that world. That's so then why even have anything else? That's boring. Let's have some things that are, you know, different, levels of different ability and work with the strengths you want to play with. If you want to be, a powerful magic user, well, I want to be a powerful magic user that can live like 2,000 years without batting an eye right off the bat. Can I do that? Oh yeah, there's elves. Okay, cool. I'll find a way to get up those levels, and then when half of humanity has killed itself off, and I'm still living up in my tower, you know, right? I'm still doing my magic, still doing my things, versus humans running around stabbing each other in the back and doing all kinds of horrible things to one another. Um, and watch them just tear themselves alive because that's what we do better than all the other races. As a matter of fact, you never hear about the dwarves fighting each other or the hobbits fighting each other, in such grand a scale. That doesn't actually sound great to me. You know, yeah, we're really great at being self-destructive. I'm looking for a color of paint here, folks, and I don't want to have to go down and get the. I got the uh, Speed Paint 2.0 set bequeathed to me by a viewer. They sent me the whole set, and I've got them like organized. You know, like the spectrum of colors. It starts with black and goes all the way down. To lighter colors, that sort of thing. And I'm missing one stupid bottle. I can't find it. I found a color in the wrong spot, so I know the color I'm looking for is in the wrong spot, and I don't want to have to go through all 99 bottles. I don't prefer all human fantasy role playing games. I do appreciate Elves as badass guerrilla warfare, wilderness survival. The thing is, it's difficult to live anything like that in modern times. Yeah. I I I, I always liked the grace and the speed, the ability to look over the curvature of the Earth and see something that's on the other side of the planet. Because your vision could do that. To me, that's like it's impossible because that's not how physics works. But the idea that they could do that, the fact that they could live, 2,000-3,000 years, uh, yeah, those things are kind of awesome. I knew you were coming in here. You just couldn't leave well enough alone. You had to come in and argue with me. What's up, my brother?
Well, not so much argue as just school.
Before we go any further, you're going to state your opinion that cannot be proved nor disproved.
I did prove it in my video. If you watched it, you would know
You,
this.
you can't prove an opinion.
You can't prove an opinion, that's true, but you can prove a fact.
How is it a fact? What's your basis of better? What is your basis of better?
Basis of matter. I don't even know
Better,
what that word means.
better.
Oh, oh no, no, I didn't say. Okay, what did I say? What's the video? What's the video say? Let
Uh,
me look
yeah.
because before we get involved in any sort of thing, I need to know what I even said. Yeah. Shadow. It's only 15 minutes. How could you not have listened? I feel betrayed.
No, I did. I just couldn't put up with any more of it.
Oh my god. So angry, so
No, no.
mean.
Something came up. I think I got a phone call from George, and I had to go take care of that. And lately, I stuff is coming up, and There's a whole
Yeah,
bunch of
that might
bears.
not be the right thing. Humans are the hardest to play. That might not be the right way to say it. But what I was basically saying is that when people play elves, they tend to, or any of the demi-humans, they tend to just go along with something they read somewhere, right?
You see, I'll tell you how I
Like
play elves.
Tolkien or whatever, right?
This is
But
how
with
I play elves.
humans,
Remember, the Watchmen?
are you talking about the superheroes?
Yes.
Yeah, of course. I love that's one of my
Okay.
favorite comic series.
Okay. Imagine, Doctor Manhattan when he's blue and how he's so completely detached from humanity, and
Hmm.
how he can see things on these microscopic levels. I look at elves as being like that, like, but slow, in no hurry whatsoever, because it's all, it's just these little insects buzzing around and doing their things, and they're going to be, if you blink, they're gone. And you know, looking down on them as like their beloved pets, or slow children, if you will. And just something to pass, a moment of time, like listening to a simple song, or a single song, is all of their woes and their worries. They blink, and oh, that was a nice story, but I'm still here, and they're all gone, like dust in the wind.
See, it's funny because the way you explain that, I 100% agree, which is why I think any creature that lives longer than a certain amount of time would not help but become evil because they would
That's
become
that's
so
that
jaded.
is that You're absolutely 100% correct. That is the challenge, is to have all this power, and to submit and go into the West instead.
Exactly. Exactly. So here's what I was really commenting. Somebody had said that playing humans was easy, actually.
How are
And
we
this
even
was in
friends,
double
man?
D's. This was with double D's, right? And my
Squirrel, shake
response
my
was
head.
no, because as a human, you can be anything. Like as wide open as your imagination
Hmm.
is what you can be with human. But I feel like demi-humans, we tend to kind of rein ourselves in because of we've read, like you and I, we've read a lot of stuff. We know what elves are kind of like. We know what a dwarf is supposed. I even mentioned that Scottish accented dwarves running around, right? But like I pointed out, would you rather play a Scottish accented dwarf running around or a 6'9" Kurgan warrior with a giant Pomeranian? Which one seems more interesting?
I will never run the Kurgan with a Pomeranian, because that's your shtick. But I
I,
will run.
I'm just saying, some really interesting human guy. I mean, and the Kurgan
Here's the
was
thing.
the
Here's
bad
the
guy
thing.
from Highlander.
As big as I was, and as much as I worked out and did all those things, I always railed against might makes right, and always went for, intellect as the most important stat versus all the other stats, since day one. Being smart and intelligent, for me, was the apogee of success.
There are
Versus, I'm
games
the
that
biggest and
100%
strongest,
agree with you.
therefore what? Sorry.
There are games that 100% agree with you, L5R being one, where
Okay.
your intelligence affects skills and strength does not affect your ability to hit with a katana. It's actually your agility.
Yeah, yeah, as it should be.
Strength does affect damage, but not to hit.
Right, which is weird
But
because
in
Shadow Dark
D&D, they changed
has it
it because
completely
otherwise
ass
Dex
backwards.
would be the ultimate attribute of all time. You just want a high Dex, no matter what you were.
Thanks, Julia. It's
Tried to do Welsh for
because,
no.
like I was telling someone the other day, if your intelligence is high enough, you can figure out how to raise all your other stats without magic.
Well, that's Osmandius right there.
Thank you. He's my favorite character in the story. And if you think about it, you absolutely, that's what intelligence is. It's figuring out the answer to any problem you have without having to resort to just pure brute force, which to me is like the absolute, how they say, violence is the last resort of, I forget, like the
Yeah, well,
something.
I'm playing sword and sandals, so violence is first resort. But no, you're right. Ozymandias was such a genius. He figured
Mhm.
out a way to genetically alter himself to make himself superhuman.
Mhm.
He's the other than Doctor Manhattan. Ozymandias is the only actual what we would think of as a superhero.
I'm talking about common sense.
Yeah, but I'm talking about actual
Daryl,
power levels, like
Daryl was
Night
talking about.
Owl and the rest of them. They're just humans. Ozymandias is a way above a human
Oh, absolutely. He
because of
was
his
he
intelligence.
was the. I don't know if he was the first superhero or if Doctor Manhattan was chronologically, but Doctor Manhattan was the result of
So
an
I agree with
accident.
your intelligence thing.
Yeah,
I
it's
mean, Ozymandias made himself so much stronger and better than a human that he beat the shit out of the comedian, caught a bullet, whipped the shit out of Rorschach and Night Owl at the same time.
and Sally Jupiter.
And yeah,
I mean, but that's no big deal. You bitch slap
and
her or something. I'm sorry.
outsmarted
Just
Dr.
kidding.
Manhattan for like a year because he did the thing that caused Dr. Manhattan to not be able to see the future right.
Mhm.
So, I mean,
Exactly. I
obviously,
mean,
very powerful. But no, my point is, I just feel like humans offer you a lot more freedom because they're blank check. You can write whatever you want on a human.
yes, that
Play it
is
out.
that's a better way to describe their unique trait because you're right. Dwarves are very monochromatic. They're very. It's hard to tell them apart. Same with elves and gnomes, and hobbits. They have things that are pardon the pun, sort of set in stone in their character. But no one, or I'm not going to say no one. Most DMs do not want the potential that some of those things have, especially elves, because they can break your game. They can literally, the, the right elf player um, could literally make it so that the elves take over the entire planet and nobody can do a damn thing about it. Every
Look,
other race would have a harder time doing it, I think.
Shadow,
Um,
you don't need to play AD&D. You need to pick up Middle Earth role playing.
no, no, I owned it. I sold it because the story is. See, here's the thing. With most IPs, I like to leave them right where they are in between the covers that they came out as a book meant to be read and enjoyed. And we as gamers have tried to gamify everything. And I'll not play Lord of the Rings. I won't play
The One
most
Ring.
other, well most other games based on an IP like Elric. I bought it and I went and bought like everything from Elric and Stormbringer, the RPGs. I got them. I started looking at them and I'm like, what did I do? I'm never going to play this. I already know how it ends. And, play the same thing with Conan. It's like, yes, you can play in areas that are off to the side, knowing the whole time you're not even second best when it comes to what's most important in that world. You're just playing some losers. No matter what they do, it'll always pale in comparison to the one true God that is Conan or Luke Skywalker or whatever. You know what I mean? I don't want to be in that. I want to be the number one. And you can't be the top dog in a world that already belongs to somebody else by literal copyright laws. You know what I mean?
I don't know.
It's kind of,
I
to me,
don't.
it's pointless.
Yeah, I get that, but I don't see it that way. I see it like
Most people don't
when
because
I
they.
play Conan as say whatever I play, a Hyperborean scumbag or whatever.
Uh-huh.
I don't care what Conan's doing in Aquilonia. I'm too busy trying to survive in Brithonia.
Right, but there are things you can never do.
Like what?
Become king of Aquilonia,
Maybe I could.
but probably not going to be allowed. There are things you there like in any other game. There's no those limits don't exist because it's a brand new fresh slate. It's your world because you're the player characters. It's not Robert E. Howard's world or H.P. Lovecraft's world because let me give you an example, right? You're playing in a world, right? And there's this eldritch god, right? And
Mhm,
he's the freaking big bad dog monster, like Cthulhu, but not Cthulhu, right?
mhm.
But you and your party, you have decided we're going to go up against him. We're going to get all these artifacts. We've got him. We're going to get all these relics. We got him. We got all this power. We got him. Now we're going to face off and try and kill him, right?
I'm with you, man.
You can do it. But in an HP Lovecraft thing, you can't do it. You're not allowed because he has to live to do the things that he's destined to do later on. You see what I'm
So,
saying?
okay, I see what you're saying, but what you can do is one, destroy one of his spawn, or two, put him back to sleep if he's trying to wake up and destroy everything.
Mm-hmm.
You can send his back ass back under the ocean.
And
And
not that
to
I'm saying
me,
that they
that's
should
good
survive
enough.
that,
Oh, I'm not saying you're
but
going to survive, but you could
me,
do
me
it.
neither. Me neither. But you can try, but you'll never be like told by the DM, well, you can't kill Conan because he's destined to do this other shit. Or the DM's going to go, well, you can kill this Conan because he's not Robert E. Howard's Conan, but you can kill Conan. If you all jump on him and hit him with poison daggers and shit, you can
Hell
kill Conan.
no. If I meet Conan, I'm going to try and be his friend.
But you see what I'm saying? There's when you're playing in a somebody else's world that they just made up, the sky's the limit. In an IP, there's boundaries that
See, I wasn't even thinking
travelers
about
authors are in.
IPs, though. I was just thinking about how humans are so open ended. And when people say humans are boring to play, I'm like, but they're not because you can play literally anything. You can
Sure.
have any personality, you can have any goals, you can have, I mean, you can be anything. And I feel like the elves and the dwarves and stuff, and don't get me wrong, I love Tolkien as much as the next guy, but they are kind of pigeonholed a lot of
Oh,
times
absolutely.
into
But in
their
their
own
in their
little thing.
pigeonholedness, whatever they can do, right? Whatever they can do, they should be damn near the best.
Well, you would think after 300 years they would be.
My point.
And that's why I say maybe look at against the Dark Master, where elves start the game with like tremendous bonuses at the elfy shit.
Uh huh.
Yeah, like my wife was playing an elf, and it runs on the same rule system as like Middle Earth role playing. She
Uh huh.
started the game with like plus 80 to hit with a bow. And this is a
On
game where if you roll 100 or above,
so
you're
percentile
doing
based.
like crit damage.
Okay. So percentile based system.
Right. It's a die
Okay.
100, but not percentile because you want to roll high. And she's
Oh,
got plus
okay.
80 with a bow. A human can't start with a plus 80 with a freaking bow. A human can't get
Carol, you've
near
been
that
listening to
shit.
too much Critical Role. Clearly, I think you're trolling me. Um,
I did see the whole, yeah, education is incredibly powerful stat in Traveler, just FYI. Because it can give you
that's
modifiers for
interesting,
any
Xar.
career you want to get into.
Or
Half
half.
elves. Yeah, that's called Lord of the Rings. Like Elrond half elven. He had a human mother and an elven, or no, reverse that. Um Elven mother and human father. And when he achieved adulthood, he chose to be an elf, but his brother Elrohir chose to be human and died because that's the way elves work in Lord of the Rings. And in the whole history of Middle Earth, there's only been 2 times when a human and an elf married, maybe 3.
Right.
It's
And
incredibly rare. It's not
right.
something that happens.
In a situation like that, it's almost best to leave it as an NPC because otherwise you're just going to have them running around everywhere. George, your Star Wars game was absolutely fun, but that was one of the cool things about it is it was thousands of years, literally thousands of years before the movies, set in like the old Empire, Knights of the Old Republic kind of thing. So there was it was Star Wars, in spirit and feel, but not in canon or lore, and we could do all kinds of cool shit
I'm a Transdorf,
and
Daryl.
never even come close to breaking the story.
So,
One Squirrel says one thing you do when gaming with an IP, start the game as though everything that was written in the literature or movies happened 40 or 50 years ago. That's why George's
mhm.
Gate, which was 2,000 years before the movies, worked. But there still comes a point with a lot of IPs that there is a definitive the end. Okay, and depending on how close you are to that, the less you matter.
Mm, I
Yeah,
mean,
but that was
it
the chosen
seems to
one.
be Shadow, and I know this is not new with you, that you want a game where the adventures are the center of your universe. I just don't see why that's not just the basic way things are, because it's the way my games are
Well,
always.
because
And
right off the bat, well, it's like a they it's like they are and they aren't. Okay, if they're the center of the universe, then doesn't that come with plot armor? Okay, well they don't get plot armor and they're not the center of the universe because at any time they could die. What it is the players are the game. Without the players, there's no one playing the game. They get to enjoy your world and your game that you've come up with, but they can fail. They can die. They can decide they don't want to play anymore, or they themselves can be rendered unable to play through no fault of their own. So, you know, it's not as simple as we'd like to try to sum it up in one sentence, because it is a game and they can lose. And if they lose, are they still the center of the game? Well, no, their character died. They got to go over there in the corner at the little kids' table and break out their crayons and their math rocks and roll up a new character, and then they can come back in. Julia says she played that game a long time ago, and 80 plus. Whoops, sorry. Trying to read what and 80 plus is crazy. I've never read those mechanics. Um, I prefer, as most of you guys know, to make up my own worlds where the players can become really really powerful if they play their cards right. But if they play their cards wrong, they're dead. Simple as that.
so I want to talk to Julius or Julia.
Julia, yeah.
Julia in Against the Dark Master, depending on the type of elf, whether you're playing like a high elf or star elf or whatever, and a wood elf, you just because of your race get a bonus with bows, spears, whatever. Then you get to add an attribute bonus if you have one, and we'll assume as an elf you're going to put whatever, so you get the attribute bonus to the bow. And then because you're starting, say you want to be a ranger type, well, then you get a class bonus with the bow, and then you get some discretionary points that you can add in to get more bonus with the bow, right? So an elf can start with like a plus 80 with a bow. No one else in that game world can do that shit. They can't even get close. I mean, a dwarf, if he goes all in, might get up to like a plus 55 or 60 with an axe. But the elf is, because they're elves, they get huge racial bonuses to like all of their skills right
Can,
off the
can,
bat.
can, can you maybe help me understand why there are any games out there that have elves, but then say the elves can never be rangers?
Adventure Conquer King, only an elf can be a ranger. Humans can't be rangers. Only elves can. They're the only ones
Interesting.
who can.
Because like I'm getting ready to be in Bubba's Dragon Slayer game, and I was looking at Rangers. Elves can't be Rangers. I'm like, uh
Because Gygax based the ranger on Aragorn,
huh.
not
Okay,
Legolas.
let me riddle me this, Batman. Okay,
Uh,
I can understand that the way the Ranger character class is designed, that elves can't be that specific thing. What is it that an elf can be where he's a better tracker and wilderness survivor living in the woods, buck naked, day in, day out, not being eaten by everything in the forest because he's an elf? What is that?
well, that's Adventure Conquer King, Wood Elf Ranger. Not only that, but Wood Elf Rangers or Elf Rangers in Adventure Conquer King can talk to animals, birds, and stuff, and they get a bonus to hit and damage with bows. So that they're basically everything you want.
But you understand my point, right? Because I will pull out real quick.
Yeah, yeah. Julia, elves in like against the Dark Master get like +20 to start with a bow, a base +20. But I ran that game for like a year for my group, and we had an elf in the group. And believe it or not, okay, so the elf was really good with a bow. It didn't change anything really. It was like, the elf felt really good about being an elf. They were great at tracking, they were great at wilderness survival. They could see at night, but not in caves, but at night. And they were really good with their damn bow. Uh, didn't overpower the game at all, but the elf did feel very powerful compared. However, elves are not as strong as far as toughness wise as dwarves and humans.
No, no, no.
So they pay for their long life and their amazing abilities by just not. They're a lot more fragile. So yeah, Against the
Potentially.
Dark Master is an Italian-made game that is basically Middle Earth role playing, and it's actually a really great game. I ran it for a while. I think Bear ran it. It's actually a really good game. The only thing they do bad in that game is they do wealth as like abstract, and I am not a fan of that. I want to know how many
Yeah.
silver pieces my
Thank
character
you,
can
thank you, thank you, thank you. I'll go one step further. I will tell you, Mister DM, how many arrows I have, how many rations I have, how many ounces of water are in my canteen, and how many copper pieces are in my shoe hidden for an emergency.
guarantee. Right. In that game, like you're saying, offensive bonuses and everything, humans are the jack of all trades race. They can be like anything. They don't get the massive bonuses in very specific things the way an elf or a dwarf or a halfling might, but they can be anything. And they can be good at basically anything. So it's like you'll never be the grand master archer the way an elf will, but you'd be pretty good at a bow, but also pretty good at a bunch of other shit too. So
Sorry, I missed
it
a whole
is what
bunch of
it is.
comments, guys.
Yeah, we're having some good comments here. But like I said,
What's up, Chris? What's up, Holy Diver?
and
You guys are
that
killing
is,
me.
Chris, that was the whole point of the video I made the other day, is that elves are pigeonholed into being a thing because of the things we've read in the past that make us automatically think, well, this is just how elves are. And then games come out and they don't do anything to change that. Elves live in the woods and they dance and sing and they carry on and they're froofy and what it's like, well, what if I want to play an elf that lives in a frozen freaking Arctic area and
Right.
hates humans and wants to make clothes out of their faces? Why can't I do that?
Most people would say because uh, half of what you just said thinks you might need or might benefit from a 72-hour stay at a certain facility to make sure you're okay. The other part would be, well, because elves don't live up there and there's no way you would get up there, or
Except
or
Holy
let,
Diver can back me up. Holy Diver knows exactly what I'm talking about.
I don't.
Dark elves in Warhammer. They live
Oh,
in
okay.
North America. It's an icy, mountainous hellscape, and they pretty much think every other creature on the planet is just not even a human, not even a thing. So yeah, they actually make the saddles for the giant lizards they ride out of orc hide because it's
Uh-huh.
really tough.
Uh-huh.
And a lot of times they make their own clothing out of human hide because of how
Okay,
soft it is.
right off the bat, Daryl, what you say here, because most players play other races with a human mindset. Players can't role play non-humans well. Okay, um, you need to, in my opinion, remove most with the ones I've encountered in my lifetime. I have met great players out there who could play like anything and do it well, or they play this really well, or they play that really well. We only focus on the negatives and the piss poor examples we've seen. The few, even if it's 1 in 100 or 1 in 1 million, that are great at it, because no one's going to say that Spock played a shitty Vulcan or Leonard
I
Nimoy.
mean, he is the atypical Vulcan. I
No
mean,
one's going to
anything
say that
Vulcan is
or
rough.
Orlando Bloom didn't play a great elf.
He
It
was
took a
great
lot
as
of work.
Legless. He was great as Legless.
It can be
Absolutely.
done. It can be done. It takes work. It takes training. And in a role playing game, you're doing it for more than just a year. Like Orlando Bloom when he was playing Legolas, let's say a good portion of his year, whatever year that was, that he played Legolas, he had help, he had training, he had director, all that other crap. The average human gets none of that and has to make do with playing in a game where they're goofing off, trying to have a good time, and not worrying about someone going, cut, do it again. Um,
I can tell you right now that Haas played a dwarf to the T for probably a decade.
so it can be done. We just
Yeah,
don't
he
see
was
enough of
great
it.
at it.
And instead of shitting on the people who are trying, maybe encouraging and making interesting suggestions,
Well,
constructive criticism, as opposed to saying you can't do it. I'm not letting you do it because sight unseen you can't do it. Fuck
if
you.
anyone thinks I'm pooping on the demi-human players, I'm not. I'm just pointing out that humans have a lot wider range. Haas played an excellent dwarf for over a decade, maybe two. But guess what? At the end of the day, he was a dwarf. He lived in a freaking cave in the ground. He liked to mine. He drank mead and he ran around with a big beard. That's just what he did.
Mhm.
But
And,
as a
and
human, you can be anything. That is my only, that is actually, that's the gist of
well,
my argument.
look at it like this. They're
So if you
they're
want to be an elf, be the elfiest elf you can be.
yeah, I'm not going to be the elfiest. I'm just going to be whatever I determine that I want this
Shitty
particular
jerk
character,
face
because
DM PTSD.
they're not just a skin suit. It's just that most people don't actually have anywhere near enough good examples. Think about it. We've got all of human history to go by when running a human. We've got about 10,000, maybe even 20,000 pages of literature to get an idea of what it might be like to play this angelic being that can that was alive when our parents were freaking living in mud huts. Okay,
See,
right?
in my mind, in Hyperborea, you would definitely be a Viking of some sort. And Holy Diver would probably be a Roman soldier.
I can see that. I can see that.
All right.
He's like
Well, my character's a Roman soldier. Actually, the one I was playing has
shitty jerk face DM
SPQR.
PTSD. I've had some piss poor dungeon masters. I've had some really good ones, but honestly, the best ones have been the ones I've met recently in the last 5 years. You guys out there that I talk to on a regular basis. For the most part, I was the DM, so even worse. And I had a lot. I had a lot of players over the years, but when I did get the chance to play, uh, It was. I'll give you a perfect example. I was playing a half elf fighter thief. I want to say it was a fighter assassin, but I don't think elves can do that. Maybe they can.
I think
Either
they
way, I was
can.
playing like a fighter thief, right? And we were like second level, and we were going
Hmm.
across the plains, and we encountered some wyvern, and somehow we managed to kill him. And I'm like, well, shit, I'm gonna try and extract some of the venom from the wyvern tails. And I got
Hmm.
lucky, and I managed to make a couple of poison arrows by describing exactly what I would do with things covering my face and my eyes and gloves and mouth, so there's no way poison's getting in me. And I wax tipped the arrows and dipped them in the poison, and then put some more wax on them to make sure that poison was in there and was going to go in. Whatever we fought right. Next day, ancient red dragon off off the on the horizon coming right at us. And I'm like, and the party's like, oh shit, oh shit, oh shit. And I'm like, fuck it. I'm second level. I'm gonna try it. If I die, I die. Pull up my poison arrow, 20. DM's like, fuck. Everybody's just staring at him. Well, what's gonna happen? What's gonna happen? He breaks out the 20-sided die. Uno. Fumble. Dragon falls to the ground. Single-handedly took out an ancient red dragon at second level, and that was the last game we played.
Yeah, because your DM obviously had some issues.
I
Um,
already showed. I was like, what are you gonna do next? It's like I'll
Here's
just
my question though.
you know.
I have a
Uh,
follow up.
mhm,
Okay, let's do this kind of mental experiment before I have to leave. I have a doctor's appointment in a little bit, but
okay.
you're playing your elf versus you're playing your Viking.
Hmm.
You and I both know which one is going to let you go hog wild.
Hmm.
As the Viking, you can literally act however the hell you want.
Hmm.
You can role play your character as really good or really evil.
Hmm.
You can give yourself a weird nickname like Frog Face or Black Tooth. You can
Hmm.
do anything. But as the elf, you're an elf and you're going to be an elf. And that's just
Hmm.
how it is.
Yes, but I
As the
could play my.
Viking, you could have kinky black hair and use a bow and like to hide up in trees, like the dude from the 13th Warrior.
That's funny, Chris.
You know what I
But I
mean?
could also play my. I could also play my elf like Elric. I could play my elf.
No, that would be a Hyperborean.
I from what I understood, because of things. When you think about the fact that Elric could put on a full suit of plate mail and cast cleric and druid spells, or not cleric, not druid spells, cleric and magic user spells. I'm like, that sounds like a multi-class fighter, magic user, cleric, elf, more than it does any kind of human I had seen up until
Well, if you
that
hadn't
point.
given your player's handbook away, you would know that the Warlock, which is a human subclass, can do
Hmm.
that. So Elric would literally be a Hyperborean Warlock.
Nice, Taylor.
And the Hyperboreans are super tall, super pale, with purple or violet eyes
Yeah,
and
but
pale hair.
I can't help but wondering what came first.
Oh, I know for a fact the Hyperboreans, since the Greeks wrote about them in the BC.
Yeah, but I don't think they wrote about him like that.
Oh, pretty much, yeah. And Apollo
I
apparently lived amongst them.
yeah, I've read that stuff too, but I don't remember some of the things that were.
Okay,
And
Clark
it's
Ashton
entirely.
Smith predates Moorcock
I've
by.
never read a single word he's written, so I'll have to get on that. We were just talking about that earlier. Keebler
He
Cookie
started
Elves,
writing in the
Waffle House.
20s and 30s. So,
Folk
like
and
that one story I
interpreted
think you
in
should
the
listen to, The
esoteric
Doorway to
areas
Saturn.
of gnomes of dingy tribal rural nomadic folklore are not the same thing. Yeah, I tend to run my elves like Melibanaeans. Uh,
Well, Keebler elves are just gnomes, let's be honest.
yeah, yeah,
ElfQuest elves, I don't know what the hell they even were.
yeah. Julia, it was one of my favorite moments as a player, and from that point on, it's like, what else can I do? I already, it's like Daniel Boone killed him a bear when he was only 3. You know, um, what else are you gonna? What's next? You throw a pit fiend at him? Come on, silver arrow, blessed by my good buddy here, right in the
Well, my
heart.
grandma killed a bear. She was older though.
We all have
Elric, a
issues.
bit of a fairy creature that would fit in with Pundit, who in all of Pundit's games, the fairy are not human
Yeah, no,
friends.
no, no. Well, because that's the thing is, Tolkien did depart from the folkloric elves. Elves were not the good guys. He turned them into something brand new because he wanted
Well,
something brand new. And
they're
there's no
basically
reason why you can't
angels.
have, both.
You hear me?
Sorry.
Elves in Tolkien are basically angelic beings.
Exactly what I've always said. They're like angels without wings, and if you're going to go by that, then I mean, how can you deny that they are and were the best thing at the time? Yeah, now they're declining. But what if you're playing in a world where they're on the rise? I mean, that would be terrifying. It would be like living in a world where Lady Galadriel got the ring and
What if you
succumbed.
made your own world, Shadow, where like the elves were the dominant race and dwarves were there, but the humans only existed as like Neolithic cavemen?
That's the game I'm writing.
Oh, well, okay then. Never mind.
I've been working on it
Elric
for a
is a
while. Because
Melnobanean. Yes, the Hyperboreans also consider themselves racially superior to all other beings. That is something that
that's
100%
interesting, Julia.
Moorcock stole from Clark Ashton Smith.
Because I always loved that idea. It didn't make any sense. Why, other than for bullshit reasons, why you couldn't cast spells in armor? You know what I mean? It's just like, okay, I get it. You want the magic users to all look like Merlin because that's the way Merlin walked around. He
No,
was the work.
she's 100% right.
Hmm.
In Rollmaster style games, so Against the Dark Shadow, Middle Earth role playing, Rollmaster itself, there you can, depending on your profession,
Hmm.
increase your ability to uh, wear heavy armor while you're casting spells.
Hmm.
As a matter of fact, in most of those games, there's an actual armor skill. And in order to wear certain heavier armor without having a huge penalty, you have to have a certain level in the skill
Has
to
anybody
wear it.
ever contemplated that both Merlin and Gandalf were like from what I understand, Merlin was actually like half demon and lived his life backwards. Is that correct?
Yes, his father was an incubus.
Okay. And Gandalf is actually really just an angel in disguise.
Yes, he was sent down from the heavens to guide humanity.
How would they have any limitations on anything whatsoever?
They didn't.
Right. Okay. But yet D&D and fantasy magic users are based on these two guys and got it exactly bass backwards. I was going to say about the sword. Gandalf rocked the freaking glam drain. Okay, but yet all you can use is a staff and some darts and a dagger, and you're an absolute wuss.
Not in
You're
Hyperborea.
right.
A mage in Hyperborea can use swords, axes, all
It's
kinds
not
of shit.
hard to improve on something that's 50 years old when you've got 50 years of things to
Okay.
grab from, right?
I can tell
Uh,
you why Gandalf could use a sword. Because Void of Man, the Finnish wizard that could sing up storms and shit like that, used a sword. And Tolkien based so much of Lord of the Rings on Finnish mythology
mhm.
that it's not even, it's, I mean, because you
Excuse me.
had, I think the name starts with an L. It's like Luden Kanan or something, and Void of Main. And they're two wizards, and they did their magic by singing. They like literally they sang things into existence.
Right, Michael Stronghold. But here's the thing: um, it's completely unnecessary. Players don't need it.
Oh,
Or
balance, you mean?
good players don't need it. Look at Palladium, one of the biggest, most prolific games of all time. Right, like I've got two bookshelves full of their books. There's so many books,
Dean.
and you've got people running dragons alongside city rats, alongside rogue scholars, alongside magic users that with a freaking snap of their fingers they can incinerate you, right? Through
Well,
mega damage magic. Okay,
if you
one
want to talk
one book.
about a game that doesn't give a shit about balance between player characters, it's Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay.
I was getting to that one as well. You know, it's if your players say I need balance, uninvite them to the table next session because life isn't fair. Get a helmet, you know, and if you're going to whine about balance, then you're a commie, and I don't want you in my life.
I
There's
mean,
no need for it. Play with what cards
wow.
you're dealt with. You know what I mean?
Burning pine cones.
Right, right.
Okay, he's still talking about Gandalf. Burning pine cones, shooting light into the face of a Nazgul.
Mhm.
What else did this guy do?
Not much.
He blew up that whole goblin cave with all the
Mhm.
sparks that burned them so that they could get away. He
Right.
could speak to pretty much any animal,
Mhm.
like eagles and moths and whatever, thrusts and
Mhm.
whatever. I mean, so he had
Well,
very powerful magic. It was just very subtle.
mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay. You got one guy playing like a high elf, like whatever, and another guy playing like a laborer. And it's like, well, I'm really
Yeah.
good at like stacking blocks. And the other guy's like, yeah, I can shoot the eye out of an orc at 200 yards. And it's just like, well, okay, let's go adventuring, see what happens. You know, I mean, hey, the rat catcher will always be one of my favorite characters.
Here's the thing. You know, maybe for really younger players, they're not going to understand life isn't fair. Suck it up. Embrace the suck. You get what you get.
Well,
Because
Michael's not
if you're going
arguing
to
with
go
you.
if you're
He's
going to go
saying
down
he
that route,
understands.
if you're going to go down that route, then how come Jimmy's strength is higher than mine? That's not fair. I want balance.
Right. But
You'll
he's
go
not
all the way
saying
back
you're
to the very
wrong.
beginning.
If you
How
actually
come he's
read
got
what he's
12 hit
saying,
points and I got three?
if you read what he's saying, Shadow, he's not saying you're wrong. He's just saying he understands why the creators made
And
it
my
a
argument will
thing.
always go back to that. It's like you can't ever have it unless you're all playing the same character with the same stats, or you can do like the point buy where you've got 40 points to put into your stats. You figure it out. Oh, you screwed up. You started with the same 40 points, but you made a mistake and put, you know, made X your dump stat so you could have a higher this. Well, right now you're in the forest and it would be great to have a high con, but you made con your dump stat so you could be big and strong or whatever. Nobody does that, but that's why I use that. So,
I actually use a standard array. The players get like 6 numbers. They can assign however they want. And if they want to delete 2 from one to add one to another, they're
dude,
allowed to,
I
but
couldn't
they
agree with
can
you more,
never raise.
Xgard. Gandalf was well, even Gygax, I remember distinctly saying no one should ever get above 11th level. But yet, when he wrote that, the entirety of everybody who wrote into Dragon Magazine and 90% of everybody who was playing D&D White Box were freaking 50th level fucking magic users and fighters going into rooms full of red dragons because they've been playing so much. Now, Gygax played a lot, but he played with a lot of people going back
Left
and
that
forth.
rebalance in
You
a
know what I
bar.
mean? First level to third, you're dead. First to third level, you're dead. And nobody ever made it in high levels to his games, but the
I
audience who was
was
buying his product were going. Were going up insane levels because that's what
okay.
they did.
Shadow,
Hmm.
do you actually think that Gygax leveled what's his name? Zagig to level whatever?
No, what I'm saying is
Or do you
he
think
didn't
that he
believe what
just
was good
made
for the
the high
goose was good
level
for the gander.
character and said, "Yeah, this is my character"?
No, no. What I'm saying is he was a hypocrite, like everybody else.
Well, I mean,
At
okay.
some point in their
Now,
life,
last night, here's something funny to think about. Last night, I was on Black Lodge Games podcast, listening to them, and they're talking about how all these people are doing like 5e games. And so somebody brought up, I forget who it is, but this is a hilarious thought. Um, who's going to be the one to convert Fatal to 5e D&D?
exactly, Daryl. Play with the cards you're dealt with, and here's the thing: you can
Are you
always
ignoring me? That
you
was
can
fun.
always play your character, uh, uh, and do crazy shit. And oh, he's dead. I guess I'll make up a new character. Because that's going to happen.
I never
It's a
have a
matter
fatal
of
fight with a
it's
ninja.
not a matter of if, it's a matter of when your character dies, and you can decide at any time, hey, I'm going out in a glorious, uh, you know, a blaze of glory, if you will, because I know it's just going to happen anyways. I've got a fucking, a four wisdom. I'm going to do something stupid, and today
Or
sounds like that day.
or you could live to be 75.
Exactly. But you never know, and it's not like you're guaranteed anything other than a good time if you're hanging out with your bros and your sisters at the table playing a freaking silly game of elves with sticks and clickety clack math rocks, playing make believe at the age of 50 and 60 and 40 and 30. Anything over 14 is you know kind of weird. I mean, if you think about it, that's why everybody, who isn't in the hobby
Hush
doesn't
your
play the
mouth.
games. I'm just telling it like it is, man. You know it's true.
It ain't
Um,
true. Also, you said make believe, but I believe everything that happens at my Hyperborean game is actually happening in an alternate dimension.
well,
And
that's
it's
because you
true
have a higher than four intellect and can contemplate higher theories and possibilities,
because,
which even our divine creator could have allowed. We just don't have access to it yet. Maybe in the afterlife, we get to go to those wonderful places that we created in our fantasy games, because if infinity is truly infinite, then everything you've ever done exists somewhere out there in the great wide open.
I need to
So
talk to Mr. Talanian and ask him if Agartha exists in Hyperborea.
I think I have never have a pillow fight with a ninja. Yeah, Shadow. If you've never read it, read the short story Harrison Bergeron. I think I have by Kurt Vonnegut. I haven't read
Oh,
any Kurt
so many
Vonnegut.
short stories Shadow should be reading, honestly.
I've got a stack of books on my.
Not even reading, listening to,
Oh,
because half
that's
of
D.M.
the
James.
ones I'm talking
Uh,
about, you can just listen to on
Julia,
YouTube.
that's my good friend D.M. James. Uh, uh, with the four-armed gorilla image.
Well, I'm not visually
That's
impaired.
literally
I
what
wear
DM
reading
James is, the
glasses.
Viking. That's literally
Yeah,
what he looks like.
and
Sand
he's not
steel.
actually okay. I guess he is Viking since he's a Varangian. That's what I actually look like. I have a guy on my Discord, and he just takes pictures of me, and he makes these wonderful animated things. And that's Hyperborea. You can tell because it's icy cold. There's a four-armed ape trying to eat me, and Saturn is in the sky because Hyperborea orbits Saturn. So it's a weird world, Julia. If you've never looked into it, look into it. It's amazing. But I'm getting ready to post a link here. Not a link, a what's it called? The title of a book. And it's on YouTube. So okay, let me stop that. And then let me go to chat where I can actually chat. Okay, Doorway to Saturn is part of Clark Ashton Smith's Hyperborean Chronicles. And
You put it in the private chat, and then I can post it.
No, I'm just going to post the name of it in normal chat. I mean, people
Okay.
can just type it in and
Yeah,
be
you'd
like,
be surprised how few people can do that anymore.
so there you go. It's The Doorway to
Right, folks?
Saturn. Clark Ashton Smith wrote a whole series of stories based on Hyperborea, which all ties in with Robert E. Howard and H.P. Lovecraft. It all ties into one thing. And I have issues with the player who runs me in the other dimension, right, Chris? Because if I'm playing a character in another dimension, who's playing me?
That is fucking awesome.
But this one, unfortunately, Julia, I'm missing my best friend and partner. And but I am fighting that ape. So let me
Yeah,
see here.
yeah. He's got a. There you go.
There I go.
Oh, look at that. Yeah.
My best friend and partner is a dire Pomeranian. And you see the dead rabbit down there? The story that Cold Iron, he's the guy who makes this art, gave me was that we were very hungry and Mishka went out and killed a rabbit and brought it back to share with me because me and Mishka are traveling all around Hyperborea. And that's actually supposed to be me, as if somehow I got swept through time and space to the distant million years in the future Hyperborea. So that's actually James. That's me in a fantasy world with a giant Pomeranian, which is based on my actual dog, who is nowhere near that big. But there's probably 30 or 40 pictures like that he's made of, the dog and I get involved in various things. So look how happy he looks too. He looks happy, doesn't he?
He looks
Bear.
plump and well fed.
Well, I mean, under all that hair. I guess I could say he's a Samoyed too, because Pomeranian and Samoyed, they look about the same except for the size, right? But
Mhm.
anyway, so yeah, that Clark Ashton Smith's Hyperborea series, you can go on YouTube. They have it all there. You don't have to even read it. You can just listen to it. And if you listen to it, you will understand Hyperborea. Yes, they're dogs for people who actually like cats. That's what a Hyperborean is. Well, Hyperborea is a flat realm circling Saturn so far in the future that our yellow sun has become a red giant. So Earth no longer exists, but people from various times of Earth have
Oh,
been
Chris,
shunted through time and
that's
space
fucking
and now
hysterical.
dwell on Hyperborea. Hyperborea at one time in the very distant BC times was the North Pole. And some ancient god or great old one or powerful thing ripped it off of the Earth and put it in orbit around Saturn. I mean, really though, game wise, it plays very similar to any TSR version of D&D. It's very similar, but the setting is absolutely amazing. Shadow hated it, obviously, because he is a man of different tastes. But Danka Shay, uh, I end up being created in GURPS, right? That would be my problem, and then I wouldn't know what I wanted to do because whoever was playing me could never make their freaking mind up about what skills to give me. Because that's GURPS, man. You read GURPS and just like, I don't know what to do. It's like there's too
Yeah,
much.
we all can't be rolled up in Amber the Dice's role playing game. Just saying.
See, that would be cool though. I would want my maximum highest power to be in magic.
Psyche.
Whichever one allows me to have those tarot cards and contact people with them.
Yeah, that would be Trump mastery.
Oh,
I'm
I
getting.
love that ability.
I came across this game that's Amber the Dice's role playing game, but
God,
without
I
the
could.
amber. You know what I mean? Instead
Yeah.
of it being that universe with those characters, it's a brand new like generic version of that, where you make icons of other people instead of cards. You could make cards, but each icon that you make, will give you contact with with the person or the place, and you have all
That's
the same abilities, being able to go through other
so
dimensions.
like almost like a holy icon, but of a person, and then
Yeah,
you can contact that person. That's kind of wild.
yeah. I mean, you could literally have like a bracelet with prayer beads on it, and each one is one of your friends, and you just concentrate on it, and then you can contact them, and they can pull you through to their wherever they are. All the same abilities and powers, just no Castle Amber in that world. It's just unlimited alternate dimensions, and
Look at
you're
that
one of those
shadow.
guys that can go.
You have received 100 messages today. I don't think I've ever gotten that ever.
I didn't even see the notification. We
Restream IO, you received 100 messages today with Restream Chat. You're
da-da-da.
kicking ass over here, bro. Julia, I spent a week in Frankfurt when I was in the army.
That's the difference.
So my German
Viva
actually
la
really
difference.
sucks. But
What's up,
if
Mobius?
I do know any German at all, it's because I'm a huge fan of Rammstein. So,
I,
you
I
know,
I've never heard a song by them I didn't like, but I could only name like two or three.
oh
Because
my
I had this.
God.
Well, I had the closest thing I got to radio was Pandora, and I'd create a channel and pick songs, like pick a specific song to start with, and then they would start telling me, "Hey, you might like this song," and they'd play it, and I would either hit yes or no, thumbs up or thumbs down, and then they would continue playing more stuff based on my thumbs ups, and eventually I had stations that had that band in it, but they would only play like their top 10 hit or whatever.
See,
I'd have to get really in the weeds to build channels that would be playing obscure stuff. Like even my Blue Oyster Cult channel only plays the stuff you hear on the radio. They'll never play
I
the great
I
stuff.
have the DVD of their concert, the Volker Ball concert in France. So it's the whole concert, and you can just put it on and watch it. It's freaking amazing. It's Doro Pesh, Rammstein's good. When I'm not listening to Rammstein, I'm listening to like 80s Soviet post punk, like Kino or Nazar or Lube. So I mean, I listen to a lot of stuff like that. But Strip, yeah, Rammstein's version of Strip is better
You guys
than
are
the
all just
original.
speaking Greek. I've never heard of anything you guys are talking about.
Oh, he does it in English, but you know the Depeche Mode. Let me see you stripped down to, but it's
Maybe.
Rammstein with that deep voice, and he's doing it slow. He's like, "Come with me into the trees," and all this shit. It's like it's pretty awesome. Julia, my wife, who was a military wife to another man before I married her, she spent years in Germany near Walflicken and all that sort of stuff. She actually still does speak German. And then my nephew's wife, what would that make her to me? My nephew's wife. I don't know. She is German. Like she grew up there. So I am ethnically 60% German, but I grew up in the mountains of Kentucky, so whatever. I didn't even know Germans lived in eastern Kentucky, and now I'm finding out there's a whole village there where all they speak is German. So, okay, go me. But anyway, Shadow the Viking. Hell yeah, the Viking. What would you be? Would you be a warrior or a warlock? Would you know magic? Would you be like a monster hunter or rune carver?
I don't know, man. I've lately, because I'm getting ready for September, October, November, uh, as Solomon Caney as I can get.
Well, that
Monster
could be like a
vampire
hunter.
hunter,
Yeah, the,
with
the hunter
with
fighter
some
subclass
with some
specializes in hunting down
spiritual
and killing monsters.
backgroundy protection. I like the idea of being able to You know,
Yacht rock, baby.
uh, with the idea of being able to use, the power of Christ compels you to put those vampires back in the ground where they belong permanently, and any other creatures of the night.
Well, it
I'm
depends on
probably
the
going to go
vampire.
watch what.
Depends on the vampire because, like a voodoo lock, the only way to kill them is to like bury them face down in the ground and then pile a bunch of rocks on top of them. And even then, they're not really killed; they just are trapped. And they're horrible because basically a voodoo lock is a vampire who feeds on their own family. Like you go out to fight a voodoo lock, you get turned into a voodoo lock, and then you come home and you eat your own family because Russian mythology is dark as shit. Let's just say that, Slavic
Well, I
mythology
mean,
is super
their
dark.
everyday life is not much better. So
Right. It's like you don't enjoy life, you just endure it.
yeah. See,
So,
I'm of the mind that uh, with the power of faith, anything can be turned back into the ash that it deserves to be turned into.
yeah,
Um,
but you know what the problem is if you want to talk about faith, and I'm going to say this, but I'm going to drop it. You're never promised to be happy. There's no promise you're going to be happy. As a matter of
uh,
fact, the promise is you're not going to be happy.
um,
You will
well,
be
from what I under
persecuted in my name, and everyone will hate you. The world will hate
right, right, but in the afterlife,
you.
you pretty
Right,
much.
but we're talking about the real world. So if you're a
Hmm.
vampire hunter, don't expect an easy time of it because no one
Oh,
said it's
absolutely.
going to be easy.
Yeah, yeah,
It's going
yeah.
to suck
But
every
but
day of your life.
but
Yacht rock is Duran Duran yacht rock because I do love Duran Duran.
we were just me and James L. were talking about Duran Duran last night. They were an interesting phenomenon to say the very least.
Oh,
They had
Notorious,
I
that was a
friggin'
great
love that
album.
band. As metal as I am, I cannot help but recognize the talent and the luck and the absolute phenomenal times they must have had traveling around the world, doing the things that they were doing.
Oh, being
Uh,
Simon Le Bon. Yeah, I wouldn't mind traveling around the world being Simon Le Bon. That'd
right?
be
I
I'd
don't
be
care if I
okay with
gotta,
that.
you know,
If you
well, that's the
protest in
things.
Russia, you just hey, look, it is what it is, right? It's more people were arrested in England for protesting than Russia these days.
Exactly. Holy
AD&D
diver.
fighter, elf fighter, holy diver says, yeah, you die 10 hit points. That's true. You're good with the bow. You got the dex. Dex is the god stat in AD&D. Let's be honest. I mean, the bonus to ranged attacks, the bonus to armor class. I mean, Dex is great.
Mm-hmm.
You have a lot of Americans here. Well, I mean, Germany is a beautiful place. Like I said, I was in Frankfurt. It was January. It was cold as hell, which I love. And the people I met were amazing. Like, it's weird how people talk about Europeans away or whatever. It was like American. Okay. I loved Germany. It was like everywhere I went, everyone was super
I saw
nice to
that.
me.
I knew you met an American. It's interesting right
So,
now because of the soccer thing that's going on. There's a lot of people from all over the world coming here and realizing that we're not the place that they've been told we
don't you love
are.
those YouTube videos?
Yeah, I mean,
Like
I've been here my
guys
whole life.
singing
I've
sweet
never had a
hair.
complaint like theirs.
You got a bar of drunk Scottish guys singing what is it, West Virginia, Take Me Home.
Oh yeah, country roads.
Yeah, and then you've got like the
That's awesome.
Algerians in the middle of Kansas having the time of their life. Japanese people freaking out over barbecue in Texas. And of course, I got to watch the
It's
Paraguay. I
so
think it
wrong.
was
This
the
message
Paraguay
this
guys.
message is brought to you by Barnmaster.
Yeah. Oh, that would be, yeah. Scroll. Um, the poor Paraguayans having to watch America crush them 4-1. And I was talking to my wife about that. I was like, the Europeans, the whole rest of the world had better hope soccer never catches on in the US. Because if it catches on and we start realizing we can make money, we will win that World Cup for the next 2 centuries. You know what I mean? Because we just got players and we can hire players. And the best player in the league right now is an American playing for Spain. So it's like, whatever, right? Rudolfo or whatever his name is. But yeah. I know you're like, I don't care that much about it, but
I soccer was actually the very first sport I ever played as a kid.
yeah,
It be pre-kindergarten. I had a couple of Mexican friends slash neighbors, and they taught me how to play soccer early on.
right.
And like all sports, it's a it's a it's an interesting expenditure of time, but ultimately not enough nuance and intricacies and interesting facts and things to hold my attention. I played 2 years of football. I played every other sport known to man, just about here in American schools and things like that. And if it's going to come down to like exercise, I'd rather just jog or run. I used to run 4 miles up in the mountains when I was a teenager every day, 4 miles. Loved it, but I got to do something, other than you know, uh, obsess over a perceived win. When in the long run, a year from now, they're going to be doing it all over again to see who wins this year, and uh,
Thank you, Mobius. I'm sorry to
just
cut you off, but Mobius is wishing us a great Father's Day. Thank you so much, Mobius, and right back
oh, I
at
didn't
you.
even know. I'm 100% certain everyone will have forgotten that it's Father's Day once again because that's what they do around here.
No, my wife never forgets. She's good. And yes, George, watching those Germans discover Bucky's for the first time, and they walk in there and they're like, it's like if a gas station and Walt Disney World become like one thing, and they're just walking around the Bucky's losing their mind. The one guy, there was a French guy, he went into a Bucky's and he's like, this Bucky's is bigger than the
That's
village I come
fucking
from,
awesome.
you know.
Yep, squirrel. Absolutely.
Things are going downhill in Germany. That's what my niece says, that they just. But I think things will change. Julia, just don't take that black pill, take the white pill, keep the faith. Things will get better. And you know, that's all I can say to you.
Yeah,
Things
you're
are
always
going to get
welcome
better.
around these parts.
I,
You
I
gotta
wish
go.
I wish we could do a POW exchange and trade our purple-haired maniacs for like the Europeans that want to come to America,
Yeah, but see
like like on a one for one basis, right?
if we did that, there'd be no one to fight the other things that need fighting over there.
Yeah, because all the good Europeans would come here, and then Europe would just be a freaking mess, wouldn't it?
Hmm.
But I'd
Yeah,
invite
that
them
that
in.
250,000 would double in a single year.
Right. But I would trade 250,000 of our purple-haired maniacs for 250,000 Europeans that actually want to come to America any day of the week.
Hmm.
They would come over and get jobs and start businesses and integrate
Hmm.
and be amazing, and everyone would love it, you
Hmm.
know. And then our weird commies can go over there and learn the joys of living under Islamic law, and that's fine. That's okay with them. Whatever, right? Like the people up in Boston in their YouTube videos, they're all like talking about how they hope the Scottish would never leave
That's
because the
awesome.
Scots were in Boston for the World Cup, and the people in Boston are like, we don't want them to leave. We wish they could just stay here. They're so awesome. And it's like,
Well, to be fair, I'm sure they wish the same thing.
oh, the Scots, a lot of them do wish they could stay. And there's an English couple that's been trying to migrate to America forever, but I guess it's really hard. So they come on vacation every time
Well,
they can,
there's a simple solution to that.
jump the border.
They just fly in. land in Mexico, walk across the border when nobody's looking, and they're in.
Right. But apparently they're trying to do it the right way, and it's really, really hard.
Well, that's because they're doing it the hard way. There's an
Right.
easy way, and it's been promoted for decades here in my state. And you know,
Well,
if you do that,
California.
stop by and say hi. We'll go out to dinner, but then you have to find your own way because you're not staying here. Um,
California. And stay away from Eastern Kentucky because it's haunted with ghosts and dogmen and hairy men and holler crawlers and every other kind of evil thing. But, Shadow, it was a
yeah,
pleasure arguing with you. I don't think
always.
either one of us won, but I
Well,
think we understand each other.
yeah, because it's always a matter of perspective, opinion,
And I
taste.
think you got my opinion. Maybe I said the video title not as good as I could, but I think you understand what I'm saying.
No, absolutely, absolutely.
And I
Uh,
understand
and,
where
and
you're coming from, but I have to go take a shower because I have my yearly checkout.
Okay, and it's been over 2 hours. I'm gonna go do some people stuff and check the mail. I will be back Saturday night with George and Dave from Emperor's Choice. Please
Oh,
come
nice.
check it out, especially those of you who went to CNY Con. Those of you who didn't get to go, well, you get to hear some highlights of that con, why it was great, and why you should be playing Arduin instead of Hyperborea. Just saying.
I have Arduin. I like Arduin. So yeah.
Exactly, because they have so much in common.
So, love you, bro. Catch you
Love you
later.
right back. Say hi to Hungar for me. Love you
I
guys out
will.
there in TV land. Have a great weekend. God bless, and I will see you in the funny papers.